Welcome back to Seeing the Need, Finding the Solution, Stories of Healing and Hope, 2011 Home Makeover Giveaway, which could not be possible without the collaboration of many, but primarily People of Color Network. If you haven't heard who People of Color Network is, you're about ready to for quite a while, but we're getting ready to change some things out in the community, really try to make a stand and help those who have been denied insurance, who have serious mental illness, behavioral health issues, challenges, who have a serious health need but can't afford insurance. We want you to take a look at a public service announcement to show you how far and how much we've reached to try to get this point across, and we'll continue until something changes. Take a look at this video.
There's no stigma or discrimination against the heart, the liver, the kidney, even the gallbladder. Doesn't even have a job.
Yesterday, depression was kept in the dark.
And bipolar disorder was your best friend's mother's problem.
But the tide is turning.
We're stopping the stigma.
We're coming out.
Our goal is to make the discussion of mental dis-ease cool and trendy.
No kidding?
Me too.
No kidding.
Me too.
No kidding.
Me too.
It's time we gave the all-American brain some peace of mind.
And to welcome the show, Mr. Tomas Leon, CEO of People of Color Network. Welcome, Tomas.
Phil, thank you.
And this is Emily Jenkins, Executive and CEO of Arizona Council of Human Service Providers. Tomas, a little bit about People of Color Network, get these people in the mode of what you guys are about.
Absolutely, Phil. I mean, we're here to create opportunities for people who are experiencing mental illness, children, families, and adults who are struggling with mental illness, behavioral health, and substance abuse issues. And our network is made up of behavioral health professionals and providers in the communities that have come together to focus on one mission, and that's creating and maintaining healthy people of color communities. And we do that through the services, the culturally and linguistically responsive services that we provide to people in Maricopa County. And we're just delighted to be here and be part of this show.
And when you say network, to give the people an idea what that means, you have big networks out there like in the television world. When you say network, what's underneath you? What are your affiliates? Give us some example.
You bet. We have 3 adult clinics that provide services to folks who have serious mental illness, and then we have a children's department where we work with young people, children and youth who are experiencing severe behavioral health challenges. And so we provide the behavioral health support services for those adults and children and families to get on the path of recovery so that they can, we focus on turning recovery and resiliency into living well. We want folks to get to a place where they live a quality, functional life and overcome these challenges that they have. We were founded by provider organizations. These are nonprofits in the community that have deep roots and histories in Maricopa County, Centro de Amistad, La Frontera, Chicanos por la Causa. We have Ebony House and Native American Connections. And those are the founders of the network, but we have other providers that have come together to deliver those services in a collaborative fashion, focused on the community, and coordinating our services so we can give the best care possible to children and families and adults in Maricopa County.
You know, one thing I loved about you over the time of spending with you over the last couple months was you would always offer, hey, come take a tour, or come take a look. It's a whole other world in behavioral health and mental illness and seriously mentally ill. Big problem out there right now. Arizona is one of the few states that titles people and designates people called Title 19 or non-Title 19. And today we're going to be focusing on non-Title 19, which are adults which have no children or their children have grown. Over $60 million in funding cuts. That means if somebody is seriously mentally ill or has a behavioral health issue and they've been cut from their funding, what do? Where do they go? And here to provide some wisdom and some experiences, Ms. Emily Jenkins, Arizona Human Services Providers of the Council. Emily, as reading this that you put out, I was blown away at the numbers of people being denied in reference to even money, which doesn't even account for the numbers of people. Define what this means for us.
First of all, I think it might be good to say
what does serious mental illness kind of mean to people? This means that you have a behavioral health issue, a mental health disorder that is disabling. It's to the point where it's disabling. It impairs you from being able to work, take care of your kids, go to school, just fulfill your life tasks. So you're at this point where you might have schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, serious depression, other disorders, and you really are disabled by that.
So SMI is not a disease, it's a designation. Okay.
Yeah, it's a serious designation, and there are ways that people meet that designation. But in the state, we had a pretty full benefit of services for seriously mentally ill people, regardless of their income level. Now that we've had the defunding of the state services for people who are not eligible for access, what we've done is we've gone from a range of services or cluster of services to one. You get your generic medication and whatever physician support's necessary and laboratory services. You do not get those other things. You don't get the brand name drugs. And for people with schizophrenia, the older drugs may not be as effective. You don't get any transportation to get to the clinic or the service. And most people with this level of mental illness do not drive, they do not own cars.
Right.
They are not people of means. You don't have a case manager because your life is pretty chaotic when you have this level of mental illness. You need someone to kind of remind you, the mom, go get your medication, let's fulfill the prescription, you need to go to the doctor, you need to make sure you get to your appointment, and then can arrange those services for you. You need housing, you need a safe place to live. If you're mentally ill and you're on the street, you're not really thinking about a lot of therapy right now, you're thinking about where am I going to sleep tonight that's safe. So what we know is that people do better when they have those services. And what happened July of 10, or really it was earlier in the spring, around April, they just took those services away. So over the course of a year, we began to track what was happening to the people. There were over 14,000 of them in the state. I have 75.
And those are the ones you know about.
Yes.
Not
Well,
to mention what your neighbors, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, friends. But we're going to come back to Emily for a couple things. I want you to take a look at this video to give an idea of the people that Ms. Jenkins is talking about. Take a look at this video.
We are people. So just think about it.
Talking about
That's
people
right.
winding up on the street like that. And where do they usually wind up from there, and from your experience?
Wind up from the street, or how do they get to the street?
No, from the street.
Well, they end up in jail often.
Where they
because-
ironically get medicine,
Medication,
transportation, 2 meals a day, not 3 because
Yeah.
we're, in Arizona, but 2 meals. But
And they may end up in the hospital because they have decompensated, or they may be threatening to others, or they may be suicidal. So you see people who became a danger to themselves or others, and they may have to be court-ordered into treatment.
Sure, and as Tomas always talks about treating well care, not sick care, these are very functionable people when they are taking their medicines and able to get to those healthcare sites and transportation. Talk a little bit about the difference between the way that they are and the way that they wind up, if they have the right services given to them.
Would this be a good time to tell a story about someone?
Absolutely.
Just give you an example?
It's a
Absolutely.
great time, Phil, because we can look at the bottom line cost of providing services to folks that are experiencing mental illness. And the important thing about the Arizona Council is they come together as a coalition of providers to give a voice to folks who are often don't have a voice in this whole thing. And so it's important that we raise awareness and eliminate that stigma and really tell the true story through these stories of healing and hope. So Emily, share what
I'd like
the
to
story
talk
you
to you
have.
about Joe, who's a veteran. He was a medic for a Special Forces unit and spent a lot of time in Iraq. And over the course of years of taking care of mortally wounded soldiers, he got very depressed and developed PTSD. There's a lot of you know, difficulty taking care of people dying in your arms and
Right.
going home with missing limbs. And so he had to leave the service. And for about 4 or 5 years, he really couldn't work. But 3 years ago, he went to a program. One of our members provides art as a means of seeking recovery.
Sure.
And he has some artistic talent, so he took classes, he went to the studio, he began to, you know, do his art as a way of healing himself. And then he got a job, 12 hours a week, helping teach art and crafts to other people who have mental illness. In 8 months, he went from 12 hours a week to 35 hours a week. So he's now working. His art is being recognized by major museums.
Oh,
He's
wow.
selling his art. So he has used his art to heal himself, but now he has art as a career and teaching. So he's got the self-esteem that comes from being recognized as someone with talent and skills.
Absolutely.
He's got the support from the environment in which he works. He's used that avenue and the programs to not only heal himself but help heal others and to achieve a level of self-sufficiency. That's what happens when you have the full range of services. When people don't get that, that's when they decompensate, as we say.
The publication that you put out, sponsored by the Arizona Council of Human Service Providers, talked about estimated costs to exceed $100,000. Is that per person? to
This was
treat?
one person
One
in
person.
Tucson who was really stable all the years that she had the full range of services, and it turned out that mostly what she needed was her psychiatrist and her case manager. When she became very agitated, they would just kind of talk her through. It wasn't about the medication so much, but after she no longer had a case manager, couldn't access her physician, she was hospitalized 78 days in a course of like 7 months, and that's over $100,000 in treatment.
Wow.
She could have been fully treated for $10,000 to $12,000 a year.
Sure. Tomas Leon, we have about 30 seconds. Mr. Leon will be on our show quite a bit from now until as long as it takes, hopefully, to get to the point of helping less unfortunate and people who are still sick out there. We added into the mix by collaborating with People of Color Network and some other providers in providing free health care this year. We'll get to explain that a little bit more in the next show. Tomas, any ending comments? We got about 30 seconds. And
Well, I think it's important that we focus on treating the whole person, the mind, the body, and the spirit, and that we move in a direction as a state where we focus on how we provide that safety net, that support for those in our community that need our support the most. And that should matter to all of our residents and citizens. And the Arizona Council are doing some things around what can people do in this. We have this holiday season, but what can people do in this election season, this legislative session coming up? Mm-hmm. And are there some pretty quick things that
Pay
people
attention.
can do?
pay attention. Tomas Leon, People of Color Network. Emily Jenkins, Arizona Council of Human Service Providers, 2011 Home Makeover Giveaway. We'll be back with you.